Everyone, we got a lot of great content to cover, so I really appreciate you being here. Special thanks to those of you who logged on time or joining us live. Really appreciate you being here. We are Webolutions, and we're here to talk about maximizing your website's local search presence. Today is August 28th, 2019. It's Wednesday. We're coming to you from a beautiful day in the Denver Tech Center here in Colorado. My name is Mike Hanberry, Director of Marketing and Business Development. I am joined today, as always, by my colleague Jack Schneider. Jack, say hello to the folks, please.
Hello to the folks, please.
Yeah, that Burns and Allen, heat your heart out. Thank you, Jack. I screwed up. I got it. That's great. That's great. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We are going to talk about a number of things today. Let's just go into what they are. Here's our agenda, for lack of a better term. We're going to talk about why local search optimization is critical in the mobile age. It's a bit of a different thing. We usually start with fundamentals, but I wanted to cover this right away. Attention spans are short. And there's some really compelling information, and local search combines and feeds into mobile and vice versa in ways that really no two other channels within our medium do, within digital marketing do. Very important because of the intent, and we're going to talk about that very shortly. Tips about local search fundamentals and recent significant changes. We're going to give you some tips most people don't know yet that have been made recently, mostly within Google My Business, which is the gorilla in the room here, but not the only animal that we need to address. And we will talk about all of that over the next hour. Local search mistakes to avoid. You are not alone, and you see lots of these mistakes, and we're going to tell you how to make mistakes and tools you can use to remedy those mistakes. We are going to confront those mistakes and bring your marketing superhero out, rather, so that you can fix and leverage and get a leg up and get ahead on your competition and achieve your goals. That's what we're all about. We are Webolutions about us. A lot of you are joining us our webinars for the first time. We sure appreciate you doing that. We're a full-service marketing agency, ROI driven, founded by a stockbroker. There's lots of spreadsheets around here, and everything is about, how did this work, and what was the return on that investment? I mean, everything. Websites and digital marketing for 25 years. Within 90 days, there being such a thing as the internet, this company was building websites. It is not possible to find anyone with more longevity in our industry than Webolutions. More than 2,000 websites. We are creating custom websites every single day, and we have a performance by design approach, which just rocks. They're beautiful websites, and they're built to perform. As I say, we weren't founded by a programmer or founded by a stockbroker. We're business people, first and foremost. We are the DBJ, a top web development firm and a top advertising firm, among other things. We'll talk a little bit today about how directories, local directories, and Clutch.co is one of those that I'll bring up, and has really elevated some actions that we've taken recently have elevated our standing within that directory, within that network. I'll tell you what those are, so you can put those to work. But if you go to Clutch.co, that is an independent. It's not like Yelp or Google where you can just go leave a review. Clutch has to contact you and say, you set an appointment with Clutch, and they contact you and they interview you about us. So it's totally objective, and it's very powerful. We like it. Bright Local is one of the tools that we use. I mentioned that we're a Bright Local partner. We're a Google partner. We're an Infusionsoft certified partner. We are a number of things. But in this case, we're a Bright Local partner. Bright Local is an aggregator. It's a tool that we use. We are offering today a free local search analysis for anyone who wants it. The way that's going to work, y'all, is you call me. We'll talk on the phone, or maybe have an email exchange if you're not a phone person, although it's much better that way. Very quickly, I'll get a little bit of information about you, very short, and then we'll set up another time to get back together, probably a couple of days or a week later or something, where we have a 20 or 30-minute conversation. One of the tools that I'll use is our Bright Local tool to come show you what your local search presence looks like. It just takes a while to run the report, but it's pretty quick for us to analyze. It's good information. Take us up on it. So we are a Bright Local partner. It's one of the tools in our arsenal. Our purpose here at Webolutions is to empower passionate people to thrive everything we do is about empowering passionate people to thrive, and I hope that's what you get today. So I was thinking about this. These webinars, if you read the best of webinars, pitch here, pitch here, pitch here, we take an educational approach. We always have. We believe a rising tide lifts all boats. I am much more comfortable operating in the milieu of here's the information, go and do with it. And our belief is that if you share our values and you find that the way that we convey this information and you believe in our intent, then you might choose to do business with us or refer us to somebody that you believe is a good fit, or maybe both. But that's our purpose. We are a values-driven company, and we empower passionate people to thrive. I sure appreciate you spending your time with us today. Make plans next month, September 25, Wednesday, noon to 1 Mountain Time, same bat channel. We are approaching budgeting season, y'all. A lot of us go into the fourth quarter of the year needing to finalize our budgets and our marketing strategies and our plans for the following year so that we can implement in January. We're going to set you up for success in your budgeting process and having the most effective possible budget and strategy for doing that. We're going to look at trends and things to keep in mind for 2020 and how to have the most successful, the most fulfilling budgeting process experience, or for you your solopreneurs and small business entrepreneurs that don't have a big formal process. Your questions are usually about, well, how do I know, right, what I should put into my marketing, and we're going to help you into my marketing budget, my marketing plan. We're going to help you make those decisions. Join us next month, September 25, from noon to 1, Wednesday the 25th, noon to 1, budgeting for your marketing and website. But today, we're going to talk about maximizing your local search presence, a little bit about me. I've been with Webolutions since 2010. I used to run the local marketing team. I've had the fortune to get a couple things right in my life. One of them was I was hands-on involved when social media became a thing for business, right? When social media moved out of the university, when Facebook moved out of the university and into the commercial realm, into the grown-up realm, I had been active on LinkedIn for 5 or 6 years. I got my LinkedIn profile in 2003 and was really optimizing and showing people how to use it in 2005. So I was at the forefront of social media. I was running the online marketing department here when local search optimization became a thing. I was one of the first people in the world to get a local search optimization certification and one of the first to put together some strategies. Now, I no longer have that position. I want to be fully transparent, but I want to assure everybody that all of our content here that we present was checked off of the guy who has my old job, all right, John Vargo, who runs our online marketing department. He and I did have an extensive conversation, which he did me the favor of challenging some of the data that I presented, and we took some stuff out, we put some stuff in, we changed it, and we're really happy about the data that we've got, the information that we've got to share with you today. So it's a team effort. Let's get into it. The first thing we talked about here, questions. What if I have questions? That's a good question. We want you to use the chat function. The voice thing gets unwieldy and so forth, so if you've got a question during the webinar, we strongly encourage you to send it to us via the chat function, and Jack will convey those to me, and he keeps me honest on time and so forth, and so we'll deal with those. We do have a couple there are a couple of natural stops, you might say, in between sections where we're going to stop and take those questions, and they're already coming in, so that's great. So we will stop at a couple of times and take those questions and make every effort to complete all of our content. We're going to get you out of here at the top of the hour. Why is local search optimization critical in the mobile age? Here's why. I'm not going to read this slide at you. Instead, while you look at the slide and consume all these things, I'll talk about that first bullet point. So everything in Google is mobile first, which means when there's a mobile algorithm and a desktop algorithm, and when they clash, the mobile takes priority. So Google is a mobile first, and there's a good reason for that, because more than 50% of the traffic that Google sees originates from a mobile device. So that is universal. And if you include the app-driven traffic, which there are very good arguments for doing so, it's more than 80% of the traffic that on the internet is mobile-driven, more to the point, on a smartphone. So as you read these really compelling statistics about why mobile is important, I want to talk through what you see on the right. This is an actual search result that I did from my desk here in the Denver Tech Center. We are about 10 miles south as the crow flies from the city center of Denver. A little bit more on that later, and why do you need to know that? And it just so happens that Tony's Market is one of our clients. And they happen to be they happen to score best from here. Now, why? Things about the first of all, you see up at the top right, there's a big G there. I use Google for this. Google is the gorilla. They're not the only one in the room. There are other things you can do to optimize and maximize your local search presence, but Google is the first place you start and probably where you're going to spend the most of your time and effort. You've got a business name. What do you see there? You see a map, which says Google is saying, I think you are in that spot on the earth, and I'm giving you recommendations based on your geography. So the local results come up first, whereas like a desktop result, you might have paid results, and then the local map results like that, and then the organic results, and then some more paid results. The local results dominate the page. All right, we got 1, 2, how many? 3. So you need to be in the top 3. I think the safe assumption is that the person who is doing this is in her car, and she's got 60 seconds at a red light, and she needs this thing, and she's going to pull this up, and she's making decisions in nanoseconds, okay? So mobile-first website. If she clicks through to your website and she needs to grab her old lady glasses, which is what my kids call my glasses, they're real funny, then you probably lost her, all right, at that point. Bring her in, man. You need to have an optimized listing. We'll talk about how you do that. What I see here is that each of these businesses, not just our client, but all 3 of these, have done a pretty good job. Tony's and Sam's better than Omaha, but of generating reviews, okay? That is a factor. How many and how good, right? What's your overall score? How well do people like you? I said butcher shop in my search. All 3 of these say butcher shop, butcher shop, butcher shop, okay? There's something to that. We'll talk about that. I've got hours, and there's some metadata there, and they've got pictures, and they've got some other stuff, all right, that goes in there. We'll talk about that. So that's what I see, all right, in the search results, and that is probably as far as 90% of your people are going to go as far as making the decision and choosing who they're going to go with. And most people who are doing that kind of a search on a mobile device rather are looking to buy something near them right now. You are not going to get any farther down the purchase decision, hotter prospect than somebody doing that kind of a search. So very important stuff. And kudos to you for tuning in today to get better at it. I hope that's what we do for you. I'm confident that we will. Moving into the next topic then, local search fundamentals. I always make sure that we want to begin on the same page. I just mentioned about City Centroid, and that's this map represents where the Centroid is in our home city here in Denver, Broadway and Colfax, right at the Capitol, all right? That's ground zero. Everything else, if you're optimizing for the word Denver and you're at the Capitol, you have a leg up on everybody else. And then the Duluths, the farther out that you go for that term, Denver. I hope that's clear. IP address. Your internet protocol address. Google associates your IP address with a spot on the earth, and it associates businesses and their IP addresses and other IP addresses with spots on the earth, and that factors into the algorithm because Google is believing that you're looking for something that is close to you, all right? So, and these are factors that you can't control. We did a webinar, it's available to you, April, on data, and it was about everybody gets all this data. Data. Well, what data can I use? What data should I pay attention to? And in general, I mean, there's a lot more information and detail in an hour-long webinar. But in general, we tell you that focus on the data that you can influence. These are factors which it's difficult for you to influence. Now, suppose you could say you can influence. I can move my office. I can do a number of things, and I can manipulate things. But it's difficult to do, and you're probably going to be upside down on the deal once you figure it out. It would have been better to have been honest and go forward, with what you got, the decisions that you've already made. So if you're looking, but you should be aware that these are factors within the algorithm, and they're things that you're going to find it difficult to influence or control. Okay? So fundamentals then, moving in. What we've got here on the right is I've got a Google My Business icon. and something that represents Apple Maps. Why did I do that? Because Apple Maps is a GPS service. More in this just a second. It's one of those that gets a lot of people and a lot of loyal users. I mean, people who use iPhones, they use Apple Maps. People who use iPads, they use Apple Maps. If you're at a desktop and you're using Safari, you're using Apple Maps when you do a local search. So it's one of those things that gets forgotten about. It's pretty easy, actually, to get your business registered on Apple Maps. Wherever you are, across the whole spectrum, the number one thing is consistency in name, address, phone number. It's called NAP, okay? You don't want to be Tony's Butcher Shop and Tony's Market over here. You want to be one thing across all of your listings. So consistent name, address, and phone number. And I mean the more specific and character consistent you are, the better. AVE period versus AVENUE. Why not? All right. The more consistent you are, the better off you're going to be. Are you going to be SUITE or STE period? Really doesn't matter which. You pick one and you stick with it. All right. Google My Business. About 90% of search is done on Google. All right. If you include YouTube, 70%. Google dominates the local search market. I think that data point was up in that that earlier slide that we showed about mobile. But it is not the only place to be. Bing Places for Business is a free place where you can get a registration. And here's something interesting about Bing that's going to foreshadow some stuff we're going to talk about later is when we don't have an Amazon Echo in this room, do we? No, okay. All right, so when I say Alexa, and I ask Alexa for where to find a butcher shop near me, she doesn't use Google. She uses the Bing algorithm to do that search. So Bing has, which is owned by Microsoft, all right, has a lot of N's, and it's number 2. Yahoo uses the Bing algorithm. All right, so Bing Places for Business is probably the next place to make sure that you've got a listing. Citation sites, and make sure that all of these, of course, have links back to your website. Okay, and more on your website is coming. So your local directories. There are other local directories. That maybe your city has a directory, your Chamber of Commerce may have one. If you belong to a leads group like a BNI or a Master Networks, and especially if it's a BNI Denver Tech Center or Master Networks, the Woodlands, Texas, or even hyperlocal. More on that later. To a specific shopping center or area of town, and that especially if that's consistent with your business name and where you are. Go get that link, man. Go get those listings with consistent NAP, name, address, phone number. Other directories. Let's tuck this in here, industry directories, and this kind of gets a little bit outside of local, but what we're trying to do is rank, and the stronger your website SEO is, the better your overall search rank is going to be. SEO, search engine optimization, and how you rank on the organic search. Sorry for the jargon. Call me. But these other directories can help, industry directories and anything else. If you've got you get the idea. GPS services, okay? Apple Maps is a GPS service. Google Maps is a GPS service. Mapquest and Waze, W-A-Z-E, which fairly recently, it's been a while, but they got bought by Google. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But these are really popular GPS services. And by GPS, I mean, you know what that means. It tells me how to get there. I do it. I live 3 miles from here, and I do it on my way home, just so I know if there's an accident in between, here and there. Got really spoiled on it. And Yelp. Okay, so a few years ago, it's been 5 or 6 years now, but I wrote a 3-part article series on why businesses hate Yelp. And I recently reviewed it just going into this, and I stand by everything in there. If I aired any place, it was that I gave Yelp the benefit of the doubt in a couple of places where I probably shouldn't have. But if you do local types of searches, searches for keywords on Google or Bing that contain local city names or even local indicators like near me, okay? Yelp shows up on the first page every single time, and they have a very robust directory. They are extremely well optimized, and so there are things that you do, and so you need a presence on Yelp, all right, and operability, especially if you are, a restaurant or that type of business that's a low barrier to entry that's going to generate a lot of reviews. You want to be, you probably want to have at least consider having a presence on Yelp, having an optimized listing on Yelp, and optimizing within the network, okay? I talked about Clutch and Yelp and those things, these things. So there's one thing to be optimized and have a position so that you come up on that search, such as represented there on the right in the Apple Maps, and we showed you earlier from Google My Business, or Google Maps, which is a whole Google Maps. Within Yelp, there are ways to optimize your listing so that you come up higher in the search on Yelp. We'll touch on those, but not go too deep into depth. The point is that you get the point. Okay, local first search fundamentals. I told you that we would talk about your website, and here we are. NAV consistency, name, address, phone number within your website, all right? So make sure that your website agrees, character consistent with what's on your Google My Business listing, with what's on all your other listings. Your content, your website information architecture strategy. Do you have, or does it make sense for your website to have a section about local stuff, all right? And if so, should that be included in your website strategy, in your information architecture? We're going to go a lot more in depth on this next month when we talk about your marketing and website strategy and what goes into that, and budgeting therefore. Your blog and your content strategy. Again, the content that goes into it. Should you be blogging and creating content? Blogging is a great SEO tool. It adds indexable content to your site. It's marketable. It conveys who you are and what you do and how you do it and all those good things, and hopefully why, what you stand for in the world and what your purpose is comes through and develops a relationship, right, with anybody who reads it. It's blogging or producing that kind of content is wonderful. And if you want to score locally, well, then local terms and factoring in a local strategy kind of makes sense to do it within what you do within your blog and your content strategy. Your on-site SEOs, your title tags, your URL structure for sure, your header tags, how well organized is your content, your body content, your interlinking strategy, your images on the website. You have consistent, are your images optimized? The algorithm can't see your images, but it reads the metadata, the data about the data that you give about your images and your videos for that matter, your file name and what's called alt text. Your descriptions are really the only opportunity that you have to make those. I mentioned schema here. Schema is microdata. I'm not going to go into it in detail right now, but I do later, so stay tuned. And then voice search. Now, we are building websites now for voice search. Voice search is the next thing. Came out of his mouth. I say, this is my belief. What the smartphone was once, voice search is next. This is the next thing. And what I mean by that is it's a significant occurrence in our industry. We doing okay? Yep. Okay. Once upon a time, somebody invented the smartphone. We, as a website company, had to go to our clients and say, this has changed things, right? You know what else changed? Your website now has to be mobile friendly. We need to do some things to your website or rebuild it so it is mobile friendly. The switch to standard definition TV. Some of us may remember about having a standard definition TV, 4:3 ratios. And then standard definition TV came along, and all of our TVs and all of our computer screens went to 16:9, right? Portrait versus, and now it's landscape, is what they call it, right? Now everything's landscape. Well, the websites that we built didn't account for a 16:9 ratio. There was all this negative space out the side. You still see that out there. And yeah, it's still a website, but you got all this unused space, which should be used to tell your story and bring people in, and it'll help your website convert. And don't wait for your competitors to decide when you have to do it, because then you've lost. So voice search is the next thing. We interact with Alexa and Siri and Google Assistant and Bixby and on a lot differently than we do with the keyboard, right? Butcher shop near me versus Alexa, where can I get a good cut of meat? It's actually how we and so we are integrating voice search into all of our searches and optimization strategies and all of our websites now. And we'll probably talk more about that next month. We talk about marketing and budgeting for your website, probably. We have coming further here. We get some questions coming in, and I'll deal with them here in just a minute here. Local search fundamentals, our other SEO strategies, inbound links from other local businesses, especially if other local businesses are well optimized. One of the strategies you can get out there and do is the old-fashioned offline stuff. And I mean network and shake hands and get eye-to-eye and face-to-face and flesh-to-flesh and build your relationships, all right? And one of the things you can blog about is each other in the nicest way possible, obviously, right? And then you can link back from one page to another in the website. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's peripheral, but it still works, okay? And it still helps. And maybe even more than an SEO factor is the more screen-centric we get, the more digital we get in our communications, the more impactful it actually is to actually build a face-to-face relationship with somebody. That's why I ask y'all to call me instead of just email. Either way, it's fine. Inbound links from cities, from pages containing the city name. This is one of the things that Vargal, our SEO guy, came up with, told me to do, and it had not occurred to me. I thought it was brilliant. Don't tell him I said that. But we have inbound links from pages containing the city name because they are going to be factored higher in the search than Google, and so whatever comes back from them or linked through them gets a little push. Okay, the next three things are also about getting people together. Within Yelp, to be optimized within Yelp, you need reviews, quantity of reviews, and good reviews. When I was a restaurant owner, we did a thing called a Yelp Elite event. It was the best thing I did for the local, it was one of the best things I did for local search. It was easily the best thing that I did to get us optimized, scoring better within the Yelp network. There is a squad, in all probability, of people in your local area that are Yelp Elite. All right, and these people go and they review. And Yelp, I like this about Yelp, rates the reviewer, okay? There are two really good, if you go to Webolutions Yelp page, and we have one, and it's optimized. If you go to our Yelp page, there are two reviews that are not recommended, okay? And they're both glowing reviews about how great we are to work with, okay? The reason that they are not recommended is because those reviews for each of those person are the only reviews either of them has ever left on Yelp. So if either one of them were to go leave a review for a restaurant or a barbershop or whatever, suddenly they'd be recommended because they would have left more than one. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's how it works. And it makes a lot of sense to me that they work like that, by the way. So these Yelp Elite events, these guys write lots of reviews, all right? They've obtained a status, and there is a Yelp Elite coordinator within them that invites them to reviews, and so you can work with them to have an event at your place, and 90% of the reviews you're going to get, not 100, but 90% of the reviews, the people who are gluten-free, it's never far forward enough, you know. And they're going to say that, you know, to you, and you'll find out. It's a good learning opportunity. We'll talk a little more about how to handle reviews a little bit. Going forward. But you can have these events and generate those reviews. And the stronger your Yelp listing is, the stronger your internal networks. And that's the same thing that I said. There's now a thing called Google Local Guides. You may be one. You can be one. All you have to do is sign up for one. And so Google Local Guides leave reviews, and they leave star ratings. They answer questions about your business. And what if you invited them over? What if you had an event for them? Just an idea for optimization within that network. And Instagram influencers. This is really something that came up in my research for this webinar. And all the people who saw the fire documentaries on Hulu or Netflix are going to object about the whole influencer thing. These are local influencers. They're probably not supermodels, more's the pity. But they are actual, real people living with you in your neighborhood, in your community, and they are influencers because they are active on social media, and they endorse products, they endorse services, they endorse businesses, and you probably ought to think about getting them to endorse yours. Now, is there direct impact from a social media interaction to your local search optimization? No, but there is indirect impact, and it could be a pretty good indirect impact, and so we'd encourage you to look into those, all right? Okay. This slide tells me that it's time to take some questions. Where are we at? 12:30, perfect. All right, we're running a little bit long, but I think I covered some stuff on the front that we can skip through a little bit. And I want to mention that we always follow up the webinar with an email that has a link to the recording and a link to all of our past webinars and a link to all of our past webinars. You can go watch those at your leisure. Thank you for joining us. Let's get to the questions. What does it mean to verify my business? That is an excellent question and something that we haven't really covered here. So the way this works is you may have a listing on any of these directories or on Manta MANTA. Some of you may have seen that, or on YP.com, YellowPages.com, or a number of other local directories that still exist that you didn't create. All right? If you're a business and you have a listing and you exist in the world and Google has indexed you and you've said, hey, world, I'm here, you probably have a listing on these directories because their business model, and Google operates the same way, is to say, I want all the information. I want to be able to present all the available information that I have to the people who are using my website, my directory, my tools, my systems. So they put you there. And you don't get to decide whether or not they put you there. You can go petition them to take you off of it if you want. I don't think anybody's joining this webinar for that purpose. Or you can, your option is to claim and optimize your listing. So you go claim your listing, and then once you claim your listing, then you can verify it. Now, what does it mean to verify it? That means that Google or whatever, Bing, Apple Maps, is going to say, how do I know that this is you? How do I know that this isn't a competitor or some troll or crazy Yahoo who just invented this and just polluting my database? And they will do that in a number of ways. Sometimes it's a phone call. Sometimes it's with a postcard. Yes, Google will send you a postcard. So will Bing. An old-fashioned postcard through the good old U.S. mail. That will happen. And in more extreme cases, you may have to show them like this rarely happens, but don't be surprised if you've had some bad activity in the past or anything. If some of the mistakes we're going to talk about have happened to you, you may have to produce something like a utility bill. A current utility bill that shows your name and address, that shows your logo on the front door of the building, something like that. You know, a picture. But there is a verification process for all that, and that's what that means. I hope that helps. Couple of questions, kind of asking the same thing. These are good questions. What if I work from home? Can I use a PO box? So the answer to the second one the short answer is no. These are local directories. They are based on brick and mortar, so you cannot use, generally speaking, a PO box for your listing, and it is not as effective. But you can still get a stake in the game by using, on Google anyway, we serve this area. Okay. And say, here's the area that we serve. It will not tie you to a local business in the same way, and so you will not have 100% available to you, but you can still, as I say, you can still play the game and be in there. Now, what if I work from home? Same kind of thing, unless you are comfortable putting your home address as your business, you will be better optimized, and, you know, that's the reward. The risk is, well, that's your house, and that's your front door, and here's a picture of it, here's Google Maps. Which is showing a satellite view of it, and I can see your backyard, I can probably see all this, and you're kind of giving up any, what an attorney might call a reasonable expectation of privacy. So that's your decision, but you can do it. Okay, and there's some social questions. What about Facebook events? What about Meetup.com? Again, no direct impact, but one of the factors that the search algorithms will consider in your ranking is engagement, both on your website and on your listing. So on your website and your Google listing, are people going to it? Are they clicking through? Once they get through, do they stay there? Do they look at pictures? Do they read the reviews? I mean, is it relevant to their showing me that I did a good job and recommending this to them? And the more, the better. The more the engagement, the more traffic that you generate to it, the better off you're going to be, generally speaking. Okay. I hope that helps. Any more comment?
A couple at the moment.
Yeah. What we got?
So you've got a question from Leah. So if I work from home, can I be on Yelp?
If you work from home, can you be on Yelp? Great question. The answer is yeah, you can, but the same deal. It'll be your listing just won't be as optimized, and you'll face those same questions.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Great. All right. Super. Anything else?
That's it for now.
All right. Cool. Let's move on. Thank you so much. We'll pick up the pace. I feel like we're going so fast, so we're going to pick up the pace. But let's talk about local search mistakes to avoid as he looks over his glasses and specs at you. All right, so our guy from last month returns. Don't you want to help this guy? I just want to go get this guy by the arm and put my arm around him, get in his face, and we're going to help, man. You know, I'm going to get you through this. It's going to be all right. Because that is pure misery, and I have totally been there. So local search mistakes to avoid. Inconsistency on your NAP. Okay, we've covered that. Okay, this is another one I see all the time. Your name, address, and your phone number is not on your website, or it's only on your home page, or it's only on your contact page. Put it in your footer, okay? And make sure that it's indexable. Make sure that it's text so that it's on every single page of your website. Why not? It can only help. Duplicate listings. So what happens is, I talked earlier about claiming the listing and verifying the listing. Sometimes you will go create a listing, not realizing that that directory has already created a listing for you. Anytime there's a duplicate listing, all right, your same address, pretty similar company name, Google says, I'm not sure what's happening here. The algorithm is a little bit confused, and they take you down. They dock you until you bring those together. And there are ways to go say, hey, this is a duplicate listing. I've claimed this other one, and a process that you can go through to eliminate duplicate listings. By the way, our service takes care of that for you. All right, if you want to work with a professional partner, we have a local search optimization system that we usually do. We pretty much do as part of a larger search engine optimization program that includes lots of stuff, but it takes care of that. It's one of the first things it does. If we do do a free local search analysis for you, as I'm offering to do on the bottom of every slide, then that's one of the things you'll see. Is we'll say, hey, here's some duplicate listings that need to get claimed, and you'll have that information. Do whatever you want with it. We unclaimed or non-optimized listings out there. What you don't have a Google My Business, or you only have a Google My Business and you haven't branched off to others. I'm going to move through this. Local search mistakes to avoid. More of them. Categories. Categories. So part of the I have some notes on this. Part of the listings is always what categories do you fit in, and sometimes sometimes they're not filled out, sometimes they're filled out incorrectly. Here's an example. One of my first, I had a client before I joined Webolutions, who had been a consultant, and my client was very good audiovisual shop. They did these big stage shows, right, for commercial entities, right? They would do like the lighting and the sound for corporate events and so forth, and concerts, and you know what I mean. They were listed under commercial lighting because there's no category for what they did in that particular directory. And I spent a couple of days in the office with them and noticed that the receptionist was constantly having to stop what she was doing to pick up the phone, and this whisper file would come in and say "lead from," and it would give them give it to the name of the directory, and then I would hear her say, "No, we don't do that." Well, people were calling for commercial lighting. Commercial lighting, like, is this, right? I mean, you can't see this, but it's our hung ceiling, our fluorescent lighting. Golf course lighting is commercial lighting, right? It's a broad category, but it does not include stage lighting and so not only were those not leads, they're interruptions. You're paying for the privilege of stopping down to tell somebody, no, you're upside down on that deal, make sure you're categorized correctly, okay? Services and descriptions. People don't tell them what they do. One of the things you notice about that Tony's, butcher shop. I said butcher shop. It said butcher shop. Perfect match. There we go, all right? And describe your services. Give descriptions, and be within reason, so that it's easy to read, and it doesn't interrupt the total user experience, and it's not obvious that you're just, give a good description, all right, that includes keywords, all right, but doesn't sell out to them, if you know what I mean. Your labels. There are labels that you can use for your business within a lot of these directories, certainly within Google My Business. You know, people don't know what they are, they don't use them. Take some time and fill them out. Use all that's available to you within these directories. And then reviews. We'll talk about this we have a whole strategy for how to approach reviews. The biggest thing that I see online is people ignore them. 4 out of 5 people believe what a perfect stranger says about you more than they believe what you say about you, okay? They also look and see these reviews that people have laid online and to see if you respond, to see if you care, about customer service. And if you don't respond, it looks like you don't care. It just looks like you don't care. So you ignore them. That's a big mistake that people make. And by the way, reviews are good. It's good to get reviews. And if you want to generate more reviews, respond to the ones that you have, especially in a timely fashion. People like that validation, okay? People are listening to me. Reactive only. We believe in proactive review generation, all right? So we use CRM, customer contact relationship management, and marketing automation tools. You're going to hear me say that again, all right? Because if you are a small business and you have not looked at contact relationship management, CRM, and marketing automation, your competitors are leaving you behind. This used to be the purview of the enterprise. It is now a small business. It is now scaled down for small business, including the price points. Anybody who's using it is, over anybody who else, talking to more people. They are expediting process to their pipeline. They are closing more deals. They are having a better retention rate. They are generating more referrals. They are communicating more information about themselves. They are starting farther forward in relationships. They are doing all these things automatically. Okay, and one of the journeys that we always set up is a post-service survey. A post-purchase or a post-service survey. What this does is it gives you the opportunity to, before somebody goes online, if they've had a bad experience, before they go online, you get an opportunity to correct it, right? To address them, to call them, to contact them and say, hey, we can make this right, all right? Thanks for letting me know, and we're going to fix this. And then the online review is, oh my gosh, these guys care. They work with me through a problem. I highly recommend. And so you drive those reviews, okay? And reacting badly, don't ever argue with anybody online. Your conversation is not with this person. It's for everybody else who comes after them to see it. So if you want to have a discussion about a review, you can have that, but don't take it public, okay? It's on the internet. Everybody sees it forever. It's a big mistake that I see people making. I think this is like our last, we're going to let this guy off the hook here in a second, and we're going to fix him in just a moment here. Finally, the poor website SEO. This frequently, in terms of your content, your download speed. Do you have an SSL, Secure Socket Layer Certificate? You'll know that. If you don't know, go to your website on Google Chrome. Use Google Chrome as your browser and go to your website. And if you see not secure up there in the top left, well, so does everybody else, okay? And that is a peripheral factor for your search ranking. It's probably sending a subliminal signal to people that your website's not secure. It's $5 a year, okay, to have an SSL certificate and take your HTTP to HTTPS. If you start noticing that, you'll see that more and more people are doing it. Google wants you to do it. We want you to do it. If Webolutions is hosting and maintaining your website, we're doing it for you, okay? It's just a regular part of our system. Everybody should be doing it. Your website's not mobile optimized. And your images. So another is the download speeds. You're uploading these images, they're too big, and they're taking too much to process. You're running too many, you got too cute, and you're running too many programs in the background. You have a WordPress website, you got too many plugins, you're not using them. All kinds of things to slow down your download speeds, and those are frequently things that impact your overall website SEO. If your website has been neglected or if it's poor, that's going to impact your local rankings. Your website is not mobile optimized. Google Analytics. Was it last month we did Google Analytics? Yep. Got questions about Google Analytics? Take a look at the webinar from last month. We went pretty in-depth about Google Analytics and how to set up correctly. In your Google Search Console, we mentioned that too. So I'm not going to go into detail here, but you're not set it up correctly, or you're just not tracking the results, all right? How are you going to know how effective this is if you're not looking and measuring and challenging the data that you see on a regular basis, usually monthly, for most folks. That's how we do it at Webolutions. We talk to you about what we see, and we present observations and recommendations. You make decisions, and forward we go. Keyword stuff in your company name. I'm going to talk about this if we have time, but that's a mistake that we see. If we have time, that's towards the end. I'll take a run long. I'll talk some more about that. And a hello to our competitors who have joined us. Thank you so much. You reminded me of that. I'll talk about it now. So we tried this, okay? We started this. We are constantly beating that line to see what we can do, like to get up on some people, and our competitors and our clients' competitors. And we ran a test for ourselves and listed ourselves on Google My Business as Webolutions Web Design and SEO, okay? All accurate, but not our company name. And it helped temporarily. And we used it until about a month later. Our competitor alerted Google that we were doing this. And Google docked us, and they flagged us, all right? So I applaud that competitor. I see you guys. I see you buying our company name. My predictive analytics tell me you're on my website surfing it, looking for holes. I wish you the best of luck, all right? I see you. I see you advertising against us. I see you doing all these things, and I see you on our webinars. We've been leading in our industry for 25 years. We're more than happy to have you following us today. So I applaud that action. It's exactly what we would have done if we'd seen you doing it. So you can get away with it. It'll help you in a short amount of time, but it is one of those things that if called to attention, Google will tell you that this is a violation of their best practices, and it's not how it's supposed to work, and they will have you corrected. So that's the story on that. And not completing all available elements within all the listings, all the stuff we talked about earlier. All right, where are we? Local search tips. I told you we'd bring the superhero out. Here we are. All right, so what can you do? Some local search tips. A lot of people don't know about some of these things. Sorry, guys. There's a little typo. I'll talk through it. So, paid local search, fairly new. Okay. So if you go to and see one of those map results and you see ad up on the top of it, somebody paid to be there. Okay. Just like you can do paid search in the organic in the regular Google search, and you got paid organic. That's how they're doing it now within the local directory. So you can buy your way to the top of it. It's kind of, for an advertising case, it's kind of neat that you can do that. Local pack ads is what I'm talking about. There's also a Google Local Services ad. Both of these things are done within the Google AdWords account. So you have to have a Google AdWords account to do it, or work with a partner who will set you up with one. But has two thumbs and fits that description. This guy. Google and Bing do that, and Yelp. You can advertise within Yelp. To get your listing up there, and to broaden the number of people who see your business. Website footer linked to Google Maps. We got a little cut off there, but this is a great idea. This is another one that came from our SEO guy. Within the footer, and I told you to have an indexable address within your footer, website footer, so it's on every page of your website. Stick a link in there to Google Maps, all right? So that's a good link that Google's going to see. I get it, okay? Hyperlocal. What's hyperlocal mean? All right, so instead of Denver, Capitol Hill, okay? Or instead of Lone Tree, Park Meadows, okay? So your shopping center, your very local area, Denver Tech Center, DTC, might be a hyperlocal deal. So if you cannot compete, if you learn that you cannot compete, and sometimes the competition level and the other websites are too optimized, and they have stuff going on, and you're just not going to get there. You're a small shop, and you can't compete with the big guys who already have the market. There's some saturation going on, all right? So we find ourselves telling people more and more that we have to get more targeted in our keywords and more strategic in how we approach SEO in general. The search volume will decrease, but the quality of the traffic that you have will increase. And if you cannot compete on a larger stage, go get yourself a smaller stage and go hyperlocal. And website quality scores. Your website quality score, what Google sees as your website quality, raw website quality, will factor into it. Here's the schema deal, okay? All of these things are microdata tags, examples of microdata. There is a WordPress plugin for schema. Now, say the WordPress website, it's not difficult to do. In all probability, if you're using schema, you're probably working with a professional partner who is guiding you through this, and who works with you on the upfront, that says, here's the data behind it, right? Here's how people need to consume your website, what information I'm looking for from you. Here's what the search volume and the competition look like. And if we do this on your website, it'll score better, and you'll convert better, and you'll have more things you can talk about with people. And so all of these are examples of schema microdata tags that you can go into. If you want to see an example of this, a big, bad, easy one for it is our client, PotatoGoodness.com. Don't go to it. What you do is Google russet potatoes, okay, or Google the term potato nutrition, okay, and they're in the 1 spot, and the 2 spot, and the 0 spot, and the 3 spots, what we call SEO dominance, okay, and then click through to the website. When you do, take a look at that, at what got it there. Look at the URL structure. Look at the title tag. Look at the metadata, and then go click through to that website, and you will see, among other things, a recipe directory. Well, the recipe directory is extremely interactive. It's been one of the things that we suggest that has driven a lot of engagement to their site. It's been a marvelous, they managed it. It was our idea, they've done it. So kudos to our client for actually doing all of these things and putting in a tremendous amount of effort to make it work. But that's full of microdata. all of the recipe elements, right? And all of those are indexable by Google, which has Google out of spending more time consuming more about your site, and it's got more information about your site, and the more information that it has, the more relevant it is to each other, and the more it's mutually reinforces, the better off you are. So if you wonder how we get to zero position, it's got something to do with it. So schema. Local search tips. New Google My Business features. Get out a pen. Here's some things that Google My Business has recently started to do, and that the market's still pretty shallow. Not everybody's taking advantage of these things yet. So plug in and let's roll. You can now set a preferred cover photo. You have not always been able to do this. It was up to Google or your other website visitors who commented on you as to what photo was representing your business. Now you get to decide. You also get to put your logo up there. Short names and vanity URLs are perfectly permissible. You can create them now. The forwarding links get automatically created. It's cool. Posts. A lot of people are doing like LinkedIn posts, like within LinkedIn, you write a post and it's a long article, and it's a social networking optimization. The Google My Business is doing the same thing. So you can create posts yourself within Google My Business and share them with you. 75% of people are looking for offers and coupons. So if you've got an offer or a coupon, there we go. Get a free website analysis. Get a free local search marketing analysis. You get the idea. And photos, all right? You can put up instantly. You can put your own photos up there, and they're up there, and they're available immediately, and they're prominent, and you can add captions. What do captions have in them? Text. What does the algorithm search for and consume? Text. Okay. More Google My Business features. I didn't know this existed before I did this research. Did you get to look, Jack, at the marketing kit? .withgoogle.com?
Not yet, but it's on my list.
All right, so this is print, right? I mean, it's so if you've got a good listing, all right, on Google My Business, you've done those things, and here's our photo, here's our logo, and here are our words, here's our story. Marketingkit.withgoogle.com is a site where you can go and get free posters and stuff, all right, for your business, and it's brand new. Y'all check it out and tell us how it goes. We kind of work for a marketing agency, so we produce our own stuff. But I think that's a great tool that Google's offering for small businesses and small shops. AMP pages, accelerated mobile placement pages, those are in beta, very much in beta. The idea behind them is they are mobile optimized pages that are very lightweight and are supposed to convert very well, but I think they're still working the bugs out. You can do Q&A. It's perfectly permissible and recommended to not wait until you get questions. You know what questions you get frequently. Put them on the Google My Business and supply your own answers. It is perfectly legal and it is perfectly recommended. You should do this, okay? Put them on there. Google is now highlighting their top 5%. All right, and that includes what their top 5% is. It's a local favorite. And if you're a local favorite, if you're top 5%, you get a digital badge and a print badge you can put in the wall of your business or on your website, and it's an honor that they bestow upon you. And how do you get to the top 5%? Well, you do all these things. You avoid the mistakes we're talking about. You use these searches. You optimize these features, and you optimize your listings. So you already have all the tools and knowledge to become one of these things. I hope you go out and do it. That would be pretty cool. Okay. Couple minutes for questions. We got a couple more minutes. And we have a couple of questions that have come in here. I sure do appreciate y'all letting me talk to you. I hope this is good information. Get my old man glasses back on. Okay. How do I know if I have a Google My Business page? Another question, how do I find my Google Business page? All right, the easy way to do it is to, hey, Mike, I'll take my free local search analysis, and Mike will tell you. Mike will run it through the tool, and he'll tell you that, and he'll tell you a lot more. But you can just Google yourself, and Google your business, and if you come up, if you don't come up, you can also go to Google My Business and do a search for your business. It's probably the best way to do it. That also works within Bing and within Apple Maps with all of these services that we're talking about. Okay? Ooh, how do I acquire my listing? You're going to have to call me about this and talk through this. So, yeah, former employee set it up. Former employee is gone. We've broken contact. They're bye-bye. And my listing is out there, and I don't have control of it. That is a common problem. Probably should have been a mistake that I had mentioned to avoid. You own your listing, okay? The company owns the listing. If you have an employee set it up, that's fine, but it should track to an email address, a phone number that is yours, all right, that you control. It's a bit of a process to get that done, but it's one we can help you with. And I don't have time to go into more detail. I'm sorry. It's a common problem. Multiple locations. Organizations with multiple locations. Can I have a single account? Absolutely. Here's a story. Very quickly. So we worked for with a large chain of optometrists and ophthalmologists, right? Eye doctors. And they had 7 locations. And what I did when Local Search was new, and I ran the department, and I did all the hands-on stuff, was I figured out that actually every single one of those positions that works for, and I did this for our cardiology client as well. Every single one of those positions, every single one of these optometrists and ophthalmologists is a doctor, all right, is a business, all right, of their own entity. And so it was perfectly legal, and we tested this a week ago, and it still is, so your business has a listing, and within that account, so yes, we do this all the time, all the time for people with multiple locations, credit unions, banks. We have clients like this, and they have multiple locations, and we have a single account, and you can optimize within a single location. It doesn't count against you for duplicate listings or anything like that. The one thing you can do, if you've got a situation like that, is, well, I'll tell you this, I'll cut it off and just tell you that we dominated, and still do for local searches in that area using a strategy that I started to talk about, but I'm going to cut it off. Okay, somebody asked a question about keyword stuff in their business name. We covered that. So I want to make sure we got a couple of minutes left. Tools you can use, additional tools that complement all of this. We talked about social media. We got a question earlier about Facebook events, about meetup.com, and all that's kind of peripheral, but the more traffic you desire, the more exposure you get, the better it is, but it's not a direct impact to your local necessarily. But it's a good engagement tool for this. Google Alerts. Get alerts on, I wrote notes. Nextdoor, okay? So Nextdoor is the one platform in social that has really broken through the barrier, if you will. You don't have a listing for your business on Nextdoor, Nextdoor, and it is very app-driven. But you can be talked about, and you can be recommended, the way to do this within social media is to engage as a member of the community. Nextdoor is neighborhood-based, and your neighborhood. You're a business in that neighborhood. You may live in that neighborhood, so go engage their community. Go recommend other businesses. Go pay it forward, and help people, and that will come back around, I promise. Google Alerts. Google Alerts about your competitors, your business, local or hyperlocal terms. Where should you be physically? Opportunities for things and events that you might blog about, write about, and engage with. Aggregators, I mentioned those. We use Bright Local. There are others that Moz Local is really cheap and easy for you solopreneurs out there. It's not as powerful, but it's cheap and easy, and it gets most of the job done. And there are others. Localese and Yext are out there, although that last one gets pretty, there are other aggregators out there. Local influencers, we talked about that. And CRM and marketing automation, I also mentioned, and I think that those local journeys and anything that's peripheral, but I won't belabor my point. We are at time. Please join us next month for budgeting for your marketing and website in 2020, Wednesday the 25th, noon to 1. I look forward to seeing you. My name is Mike Hanberry. I am Director of Marketing and Business Development here at Webolutions. My colleague, Jack Schneider, and I thank you for joining us. We empower passionate people to thrive. Y'all go to thrive. Thank you for joining us today.